welcome back to the YouTube channel of Pro Enzo Vids, and tonight's video is my thoughts on the struggling South Sydney Rabbitohs for 2024 so far. So, if you've been following the channel for longer than 3 or 4 years, you remember that I used to talk about clubs that have been struggling this particular year and whatever, like they're having a bad start to the year. So far the Rabbitohs are doing just that with 1 win and 6 losses, I think it is so far. So they're the club I'm talking about right now that are struggling so far in the year it was and is right now, 2024. But in the past, I've talked about the clubs like Tigers, 2022, struggling. 2021 Dogs, struggling. 2021 Raiders, that was struggling at the start of the year. 2020 the Broncos. So it's been a while since I've done these sort of videos about struggling clubs that I would talk about and the things I'd change for those clubs. So tonight it's the Rabbitohs, and yeah, there's plenty to dissect about that club right now. But before I get into the video, as always, like this video, subscribe if you haven't already. My goal is to get to 4,250 subs, so that is the current goal for the channel. So do subscribe if you haven't already, as well as commenting your thoughts on the Rabbitohs so far this year, what you changed personally. But without further ado, let's get into it. 2021 third, 2022 sixth, 2023 ninth. It's been a drop off for the Rabbitohs in the last couple of years, and you got to think, as they've been going down and down off the ladder, you got to think there's a concern there, which there obviously is. And yeah, for the Rabbitohs, I feel like yeah, well, what's happened? You know, what really has happened? Well, I'll tell you what's happened. I feel like the Rabbitohs have just had a lot of internal issues. It all started with Adam Reynolds leaving in 2021. At the end of 2021, you know, South make the grand final, lose to the Panthers 14 points to 12, I think it was, and then Adam Reynolds and Wayne Bennett were both leaving, and Dane Gagai and James Sewer. So them four, all big losses in their own respect. I think Dane Gagai and James Sewer were two of the biggest, or not the biggest losses. I think Reynolds and Wayne obviously are, but Sewer and Gagai in terms of quality and just overall good depth in the team, yeah, they're big losses. But I think Adam Reynolds and Wayne Bennett, losing them two is never going to be an easy task for whoever replaces them, which were Jason Demetrio as the coach in 2022, and supposedly, and not working so far, unfortunately, Lachlan Ilias is supposed to be Adam Reynolds' successor, but that's not happening right now. But yeah, I think ever since they lost those 4 guys, more particular Wayne and Reynolds, I think the Rabbitohs have really hit a really deep hole, I think. You know, I know Souths have a quality team still. I know that they made finals in 2022, and they started really well in 2023 until they sort of collapsed and missed the finals just. But yeah, yeah, I think there's more issues than obviously losing both Wayne and Reynolds. I mean, they're big losses, but there's definitely more to that. Yeah, but I just feel like they haven't really done well replacing their team internally. Like, I feel like Reynolds, obviously a big loss, and Lachlan Ilias was the guy that was supposed to replace him. And I think Lachlan Ilias is a great player. Don't get me wrong, he's a great rookie, and I do think there's a good player in there, but whether he's ready for first grade still or not is the main question. I think he's proven before he's ready for first grade. I mean, he's had plenty of good games, and obviously some bad ones too. That's part of his, I guess, game and just developing as a player, I reckon. But it's not working right now for the Rabbitohs. There's a reason why the Rabbitohs have put Lachlan Ilias in the open market, because I believe they've signed Lewis Dodd from St Helens, my team, the Super League. So big signing, getting Dodd over from the UK to the Rabbitohs next year. Huge signing. So that's why Lachlan Ilias and his manager, Brophy Nasta, put him on the open market. So we'll see who picks up Ilias by next year. But it's a shame, because I guess once a young kid comes in for Adam Reynolds, they expect the world from him. And that didn't happen, unfortunately. I feel like Souths could have definitely replaced Adam Reynolds with a bit more of an experienced halfback. But I guess because they replaced him with Ilias, who's young still, and at the time was very young, didn't play much first grade at all. 1 game in 2021, 1 game. And I think maybe until then, South thought that, oh, we're going to go for a rebuild period with having Lachlan Ilias as our halfback. Maybe that's what they thought, a rebuild period, and they're going to try and just go through scratch. But yeah, I don't know. Whatever the thought process was with first starting Ilias as the successor for Reynolds, yeah, obviously it wasn't the plan they wanted to be outcomed as, because it's not working right now. So yeah, I think Ilias, unfortunately, and Souths together are not working, and they'll split eventually, I reckon. And as for Jason Demetrio, well, I'll touch into JD a bit more later in the video, but yeah, I mean, he's been under some good coaches before, like Paul Green in 2015 as an assistant coach, and won the premiership in that year too as an assistant. I think he spent time under a few other coaches too, like Wayne Bennett for a couple of years at the Broncos and even at Souths too. So, you know, he's been around some really big influence coaches and names in the past, but I just don't know if JD can stand on his own 2 feet long term, and that's just unfortunately how things are looking right now, that he can't do that. But yeah, either way, this drop-off's concerning. I think a lot of internal issues, probably a lot of other bickering and other stuff happening right now. And when I think of South Sydney, and especially how they've been since 2018, I think of Rabbitohs as a really big club, you know, really, really big club. And they always were a finals club, you know, normally. But right now they seem to be having that sort of drop-off period where they might have to, you know, revamp everything and go again, maybe. Like, that's how I'm seeing Souths right now. But yeah, I think that drop-off's concerning, and there's obviously a lot of things and decisions that have contributed to this sort of drop-off happening. But, you know, that's what I think right there. Jason Demetriou. So probably JD is the first coach out of everyone most likely to be sacked in 2024, but I'm not saying that in a good way though. I mean, maybe for some South fans, I'll be happy with it, but I'm saying it as in terms of just, I guess, the unfortunate circumstances that are going to happen for JD if Souths don't win anytime soon. You know, it's never fun seeing someone lose their job. Let's be real here. Like, obviously, it's pretty upsetting for that person to do that, and for them to go through that sort of process of losing their job and getting sacked, and everyone's happy it's happened. But I guess when it's not working, it's not working. Like, that's just part of life. You know, I think for JD, he's a good guy, but coaching maybe for the Rabbitohs players or whatever, it's not clicking right now. And I do feel like it. The longer JD's at Rabbitohs, unfortunately, the more they'll suffer, I reckon, in my opinion. But yeah, I guess it's not working. So how could it work again if it's not working right now? You know, I do think, though, that Rabbitohs definitely need a change of coach. Don't know who they can go for, because there's not really much quality coaches on the market, let's be honest here. All the good ones are coaching as of right now. But, yeah, but look, I think JD is probably part of the issue. I mean, I know people can blame the players, because the players are obviously on the field there making errors and not getting tries or setting up plays they should be and getting things wrong, etc. But I guess with the coach, the game plan is supposed to be implemented to the players on the field, which I guess for the Rabbitohs' sake, it's not been happening. So that's why you know, a fair few things are not working for the Rabbitohs, because JD's tactics or plans aren't translating to the field for the Rabbitohs players, and it seems like most players like Latrell Mitchell, Cody Walker, and some others are playing just off the cuff and playing their own sort of style of footy, which is not good, because I feel like if that's happening, then the players don't know what's happening and they'll try and do things themselves, and that's what will happen, unfortunately, if JD's lost the plot. Where I feel like players are defending Demetriou, but deep down they could be not certain about his future at Rabbitohs, you know. But yeah, if South Sydney had to go forward, I feel like Jason Demetriou is the fall guy, unfortunately. Now, I know he's not the only one that should be copying it, and probably won't be, but I think in terms of people that do have to come and go, JD's one that has to go, and the next guy that stands up as a coach will have to be the one that comes in. But, you know, I do think, though, JD is part of the issue, and not all of it, but I do think, though, ever since he's taken over, they've really gone backwards, unfortunately. Like, that whole time when they were finishing first on the ladder, around 11, round 12, 2023 last year, they were on top of the ladder, they were going really well. And then Sam Burgess had a fight with JD, and Sam Burgess had a go at Demetriou because of protective sort of boundaries for guys like Cody Walker and Latrell Mitchell, and they're treated a different way or whatever. And then that's why Sam Burgess walked out, and then after that things just unravelled and things got really badly exposed. So there's a bit of toxic environment there, I reckon. So I think when JD goes, a fresh start for Rabbitohs is about to happen. So yeah, we'll see what happens, but I do think, though, JD won't last until Magic Round, no way. But he's one guy I do think has to go. When we think of Latrell Mitchell and Cody Walker, we think of two very talented players, but also players that have struggled in the past and have struggled with consistency, maybe. But yeah, look, I think like Demetriou, and I'm not saying necessarily that Latrell and Cody have to follow the same path as Demetriou and leave the club. No, I'm not saying that at all. But I do feel like, though, these two guys need to really pull their weight. In my personal opinion, they really need to pull their weight. Latrell especially, like Latrell's obviously that marquee fullback and the marquee player at their club. I'm assuming that's what they see it as at the Rabbitohs. Like Latrell's their marquee man, I guess you can say. Maybe Cody, maybe Cook, I don't know, Murray. But I do think that Latrell's one of the key guys in that team. And without him, Souths aren't as great because when Latrell's on, he's a big influence to the rest of the team. Let's be real. Remember 2022? His influence was huge that year when he came back and dominated the whole late part of the season, 2022. Unfortunately, that form has not been sided since, so it's been a bit disappointing to say the least. But yeah, I'm sure once Latrell's back healthy, ready to go, he'll be killing it again, I reckon. But right now, I think he needs to really take some time away from the game. Now that might sound a bit harsh, but I think Latrell needs to take some time away from the game. But maybe not, because he's had a bit of a suspension right now. Obviously, he's missed about a month, pretty much, of that whole forearm to Sean Johnson's head back in round 5, I think it was. And yeah, obviously, that was a pretty ugly incident for that to happen. So who knows? Maybe Latrell's come back a bit more fitter, a bit more ready to go, better mindset maybe. Who knows? But I do feel like, though, if Latrell continues that sort of form of just no discipline, continuing to give away stupid penalties and whatever, I think he might need to consider having time away from the game, but he might need to consider giving up the game too. I do think Latrell is that sort of player that could go near retirement, in my honest opinion. I just feel like there's a lot of, well, I mean, look, obviously, I think for him, and the unfortunate thing is, I know you can't really help reading the media sometimes what people say about you, but, you know, I think Latrell needs to really not look into what people say about him. I feel like he's really digging into the hate of what he cops and whatever, and I think he's really reading it too much in, and I think it's really affecting his game as well, because he feels like he's the enemy, so he needs to play as an enemy tag. I feel like now too. So yeah, I feel like that's really another bad thing for Latrell to look into, that sort of whole influence of, you know, being, I guess, caught out as an enemy, and that's really got into his head. I feel like the fans have been making him as, you know. But yeah, in general, Latrell needs to really pull his weight, and if he doesn't, well, I think he might have to go back to the farm maybe and just continue a career there, because obviously he loves the farm, and that's obviously a great thing to do, go to Taree and go up to where his home is, but that could be a full-time thing soon if Latrell doesn't really pull his weight. That's the honest truth. As for Cody Walker, look, Walker's getting a bit older, so obviously he's not going to be the same player he once was a couple of years ago, but I mean, it's not that he's slowing down, it's just that he's not really playing great footy. Like, he seems to be making a lot of mistakes and not really combining on the left-hand side like he used to. Yeah, I mean, like, I remember so well that the whole South Sydney left-hand side was the most potent and dangerous in the comp. It was a really dangerous combination, that whole left-hand side, you know? But now it seems like that whole left side is really collapsing. Like, honestly, that whole left side seems to be really struggling to really click now, and it seems like Cody Walker is struggling to sort of find the footy he's more comfortable at playing at, which is very up-tempo footy, very up-tempo, very off-the-cuff. You know, he plays what's in front of him and plays without really a structure sometimes, but mainly he's runner of the footy, and he's good at being a runner of the footy, like, you know. But it seems like his game is just really a mixed bag at the moment. Some brilliant moments, but some really poor moments too. So he really needs to match the best and the worst closer together, and really needs to close that gap, because yeah, it seems like it's wide open right now, and it doesn't seem to be looking too good for Walker too. So yeah, I don't know who can address him on that one, because I don't know if J&E's that sort of coach that can get him in line, but yeah, I don't know. I think Cody Walker needs to really be another player that pulls his weight too. These two guys are supposed to be the biggest leaders and the biggest sort of influences at the club, but they're not really showing it at the moment. But yeah, until they do, South might improve, but right now they're not going to improve when these two are not playing to their full potential or what they should be, in my opinion. So yeah, another issue right there. Now, is it rebuild time at South Sydney? I think it is. I think the Rabbitohs need to revamp and really need to rebuild. I do believe that the way things have been going with the squad right now and how the squad's dropped off the last couple of years, yeah, I think there needs to be a bit of a change. I mean, it's already started with Lewis Dodd being their new halfback from 2025 and onwards, so it's a big pickup, as I said before. Definitely not many people know him that well, but once they do, they won't be disappointed. They will not be disappointed. Lewis Dodd's a champion halfback and a really champion player too, so expect the best to come with him at the Rabbitohs, hopefully anyway. At Saints he's been a champion, so I do back him to do the same at the Rabbitohs, hopefully. But yeah, they need a few changes. They need to get rid of a few players, I feel like. They need to bring in some, I guess, some quality forwards maybe. I think the Rabbitohs forward pack really needs a big change up too. there's no real alpha in their forward pack. Like, I don't know who their alpha is. I mean, you could say Tom Burgess is their alpha, sort of in the forward pack, but again, is Tom Burgess that intimidating like he used to be? I don't think so anymore. So I think South could do with a really good experienced prop, like someone that's played over 200 games, or someone that's obviously getting a bit older, but definitely can still offer something in that team. So they definitely need a few quality forwards, I feel like. Their forward pack's probably not the greatest in the comp, if I'm being honest. Look, once Jai Arrow's fit, they probably look a bit better. I mean, yeah, Jai Arrow obviously wasn't the best against the Storm, but yeah, I think once he's fit, he needs to be in the middle a lot more, in my opinion. That would help their forward pack a bit. Yeah, but yeah, I think they could do with a few experienced quality forwards, in my honest opinion. As for the back line, I don't think their back line's the issue, really. Apart from the halfback and maybe fullback position too, their back line's pretty good. Like, honestly, at full strength, Jai Gray's my fullback. Jai Gray's obviously a quality young player, so I think they're going to... And the Rabbitohs re-signed him recently too, so I do think he's a long-term plan, Jai Gray. So my best back line for the Rabbitohs, once they're all fit, is obviously Jai Gray fullback. Wingers Johnson and Tyrone Munro. Centres would be... look, I think Jack Wyden would stay in the centres, but I think Jack Wyden's more... I don't know. Personally, for me, I put Jack Wyden in the halves, personally. And, yeah, I'm not too keen Cody Walker, if I'm being completely honest. I think Cody Walker might need to go sooner rather than later. But, yeah, I guess for now, Wyden would be the centre, along with Campbell Graham. I've got to say, once Campbell Graham's back, South will be a lot better defensively on the edge too. So, yeah, I think people are forgetting that Campbell Graham's a huge loss to that team, but not that he'll change much anyway, though, I guess. But he's a bit of a loss. But yeah, and their halves would be probably, yeah, Cody Walker and probably Dean Hawkins for the rest of the year, most likely. But I'm hearing that this weekend in round round 9, they're going to try Walker at halfback and Jack White at 5'8", which I rate because I do think that's a better combination than any they've tried so far this year. But yeah, I do think though Walker and Jack White in the way are too similar, so I don't know if it will work, and I don't know if Cody Walker needs that pressure on him to be that organising 7, which he isn't. So it can either work one way, in a good way, or a bad way. So I guess we'll see what happens. But I do think though a combination of both Jack White and Cody Walker is a lot better than what a combination of Walker and Dean Hawkins or Walker and Ellis is, you know. So I do think their backline's fine. Just a few forwards maybe and a few other changes in the coaching department would do them well, I think. Because South Sydney aren't too far from being a real contender again. They're not far at all. They need a few changes in their team, a bit more, I guess, experience maybe, and a bit more, a few new players and get rid of the old ones that have been there for a while. And maybe just, get a new coach. I think a new coach could definitely do the wonders of the world for the Rabbitohs right now. JD obviously isn't the man for the job, so if they got Wayne Bennett back, South could be top 8 next year. They definitely could be. But if they got someone like maybe, I don't know, who could they go for? John Cartwright or someone like that. Yeah, they could still struggle. So I'm just saying that they need an experienced mentor. That's what they need, an experienced mentor. So yeah, they need someone that can definitely handle the egos of the Trell, Cody, and all these people in the team. I think that South's team's talented enough to be another top 4 team again. Just need the right sort of people there, including a coach. So that's my honest opinion there. And yeah, just my final verdict. Yeah, as I said before, I think South need a few new people in the coaching staff. Get rid of a few players like dead weight in the South's team, and get a few new young guys or maybe some more older forwards in the team, older heads in the team. That could definitely be a good team morale for the rest of the young guys in that team. And yeah, new coach. I do think Souths need a few changes in that whole club, but once they do that, they'll be fine, I reckon, and they're not too far off from being a good top 8 team again, in my honest opinion. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see how things go for the rest of the year. But yeah, they're going to make some changes for the better, I feel like. But South will come good. They'll come good eventually. But that's my thoughts on the Rabbitohs so far, what I'd change and what I'd do to make them a better club. Let me know in the comments down below what you'd change and what you'd do for the Rabbitohs to be a better team once again, because yeah, it's not normal seeing South struggling like this, but yeah, it's part of the game, unfortunately. We play in teams struggle, teams improve, that's how it works. But thank you for watching, and yeah, subscribe and get me to my goal of 4,250 subscribers would be greatly appreciated. But have a good one, guys, and see you tomorrow for my round 9 NRL tips.